Microsoft is a tech giant that literally controls the world. If Microsoft crashes, the world will stand still for days and weeks. However, this story about Microsoft is not about their usual business. There is a very dark side of Microsoft which is not quite famous. Microsoft has entered the evil yet profitable business of warfare. At one point, Microsoft has completely deceived its employees by secretly dragging them into weapons development. The story I'm going to unfold is not an ordinary one. We have seen these things in sci-fi movies and games, definitely not in real life. But it's getting real. We are slowly reaching there. It's new, exciting, and scary. This is insane next generation, war technology. This is Microsoft's insane war goggles. IVAS 1.2. Just imagine we are fighting on a battlefield. If you see the enemy first, you're gonna shoot them down. But if the enemy sees you first, they're gonna shoot you down. The first person who sees the other gonna survive on the battlefield. I'm gonna ask you an important question. As a soldier, what's the most important thing on the battlefield? Weapons, grenades, ammo, but what if I say it's vision? Now, before digging right into Microsoft's involvement in warfare, we need to see the importance of vision in war for the US military. To really see why vision is so important for the military, we need to see the locations where the US military is fighting its wars. These fights are not taking place between the developed countries. We know that even though there is a tense situation with countries like Russia and China, there is no action taking place on battlefields. Vision becomes a crucial factor for the battles on the ground, such as trench fighting, tunnel fighting, and urban warfare. So, if we closely look at the locations that US military fights, you will understand why the vision factor is so important to survive and win battles. US military has a ground combat record, especially in developing countries such as Yemen, Somalia, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Niger, Cameroon, Syria, Mali, the Middle East, and Sub-Saharan Africa. They have also performed some special tasks in countries like Israel and Ukraine. These are mainly the battles which are being fought on the ground in different terrains. Some are urban wars, some are inside jungles, and some are in deserts. So, to defeat the enemy, fighting in the dark is crucial. We know that in ground fighting, the more you become stealthy, the more you penetrate and destroy inner targets. This is where the importance of sophisticated goggles comes into play. Soldiers need clear vision and protection for their eyes, especially when battling in dusty environments. Even if you haven't been to these environments, you may have definitely seen these in movies, so you can imagine what these environments are like. A clear vision allows a soldier to learn their surroundings accurately, identify threats, and recognize friendly forces, which is essential for maintaining situational awareness on the battlefield. Soldiers need to accurately identify and engage on targets. Clear vision ensures they can aim precisely and effectively using their weapons. We have seen visual signals and hand gestures are often used for silent communication. Clear vision ensures soldiers can see and interpret these signals correctly, which facilitates better coordination between troops. Microsoft, together with the US military, understood this very well. They went on to produce the most sophisticated war goggles ever made, Microsoft IVAS. Believe me, what you're gonna see is insane.
It sounds like something out of science fiction.
We've got an exclusive look at one of the military's latest investments. It's a futuristic combat goggles that give soldiers a brand new way to see the battlefield. Not only can soldiers see in the dark, but they can see now through smoke and even peek around corners.
What formerly belonged to the realm of science fiction has become a reality for soldiers, with advances enabling them to fight and win with next-generation technology.
IVAS is based on Microsoft's HoloLens, but it's not a HoloLens. This technology is insane. Actually, it's like living inside a war game. The US Army awarded this contract to Microsoft on the 21st of March 2021 for $22 billion. The US military has already received 20 prototypes of Integrated Visual Augmentation System 1.2 or IVAS 1.2. This is the most advanced system of situational awareness in the hands of soldiers. IVAS is a single platform with an all-in-one fighting goggle and a mixed reality heads-up display. It integrates next-generation situational awareness tools and high-resolution simulations to provide soldiers with improved mobility and lethality during day and night. IVAS 1.2 is the latest version, and it has many vital features: night vision, GPS navigation, thermal vision, 3D maps, weapons targeting, objectives highlighted, friendly and enemy markers, and more advanced features. IVAS provides soldiers with a field of view nearly twice as comprehensive as those offered by current systems. Soldiers and squads will use IVAS to understand their operational environment better. Its enhanced low light and thermal sensors have improved target identification. You know, drones are becoming more and more important in warfare. IVAS has integrated the technology to receive data from manned and unmanned drones. Drones can send live pictures and videos from the above, giving you an idea of what you are walking into. The way soldiers conduct reconnaissance will completely change. Soldiers will have a little arrow pointing the direction to go.
Like a little arrow pointing, like, hey, go this way.
And if it is dark and smoky, no problem. The goggles can see right through it.
They say if you can use a smartphone, you can use IVAS. The features in IVAS are going to change the way the US fights battles. With no paper maps, soldiers can use their goggles to plan their missions. Testing is already underway to use IVAS in new ways, such as fitting it onto armored vehicles so the troops inside will have a 360 view of what's happening outside. Most importantly, many officials believe IVAS will make the difference between life and death. Soldiers can rehearse any number of times before going on the real mission. IVAS can tell who people are and translate various languages into English. The level of insanity in IVAS is that you can build a 3D holographic enemy that can fight back and talk and hide behind cover. IVAS has inter-soldier wireless connectivity and can transfer data between the squad, platoon, and company formations. Training in realistic environments is a big win for soldiers. However, there have been some serious issues with IVAS. Actually, things haven't gone according to the plan for Microsoft, and Microsoft has engaged in a lot of deception in building IVAS. Not everybody is happy with IVAS, even the soldiers. Before this technology, thermal imaging was the best vision technology the military had. Everything was going so smoothly because soldiers liked thermal imaging, which increased their sight range and the ability to fight around corners while staying in cover. IVAS was first tested by 70 different infantrymen in June 2022 over the course of 3 weeks in the field. They wore it in training scenarios that included movement towards an enemy, attacking and defending a position, and a couple of live fire events day and night. Initially, the things haven't gone according to the plan. The heads-up display was super slow and data transfer has lagged by 75%. US soldiers have given pretty bad reviews about the gear, literally calling it junk. It has been very painful to wear. The cost of a unit is around 60,000 USD, whereas the standard HoloLens is just 3,500 USD. One of the triggering issues is going to be how good the internet connections are in war grounds. Without internet connections, these are going to be crap. As I told you before, ground wars are fought in developing countries. So, definitely there are signal issues. We sense that future wars are mostly going to be tech wars. Many technologies like this will soon come into the battlefield, but these won't be 100% successful in their first run. When soldiers test these, they become the guinea pigs of these massive companies. One of the other serious drawbacks is what if the enemy could hack into this device? These are glasses. They have a high chance of getting cracked, and if water runs into them, there can be glitches. According to some reports, this has already happened so far. Once, a soldier said that it could get you killed because the light from the goggles was visible hundreds of meters away. But here is the thing. We can draw back to 1970s when the first night vision was introduced. The soldiers' acceptance was really low. The same is true for machine guns, but a few decades later, these were war-winning and life-saving equipment and weapons. So, it's pretty obvious to have failures in the initial phases. I told you, soldiers are only one party who are unhappy about IVAS. What about the employees of Microsoft?
Have a seat.
If you look at Microsoft under Satya Nadella, it has been widely successful and profitable. However, not everyone at Microsoft liked helping the US military. Some Microsoft employees asked the company to cancel the HoloLens contract. They said, "We did not sign up to develop weapons, and we demand a say in how our work is used." Days later, Microsoft's CEO has defended this project by saying they are not going to withhold technology from institutions which are protecting their freedom they enjoy. He said this AR technology could help soldiers target enemies and prevent the killing of civilians. Of course, we can't fully know that to be the truth until it happens in the field. And you have to sympathize with those who are protesting against this because their complaints are valid. They were trying to make the next level of VR technology, and now it's being used in a way they didn't intend or even consider. Employees have said, "We don't want to be war profiteers." While Microsoft has previously licensed tech to the US military, it has never crossed the line into weapons development. With this contract, it does. The application of HoloLens within the IVAS system is designed to help people kill. It will be deployed on the battlefield by turning warfare into a simulated video game.
Because I think it was stated too, right? Originally, the reason why they hopped onto this was because they wanted to use it for the medical purposes, and that's what it was intended for. So that's why they
switched it on them.
Yeah.
So another Microsoft employee said, quote, "A lot of people feel uncomfortable about being involved in war-related business or producing weapons that hurt other people. To me, it's a basic violation of Microsoft's mission statement to empower every person and organization on the planet to do more."
Many engineers contributed to HoloLens before this contract even existed, believing it would be used to help architects and engineers to build cars and buildings, teach people how to perform surgery or play the piano, and to push the boundaries of gaming. These engineers have now lost the ability to make decisions about what they work on, instead finding themselves implicated as war profiteers. Of course, now the question is, if the HoloLens setup works as it's intended to, doesn't that mean that we're one step closer to warfare being more digital than ever before? With soldiers using all sorts of technology from behind safe lines to control things like vehicles or even robots just to go and get the enemy, that's a possibility for sure. Just how quickly it gets to that point is up for debate. These goggles can record every second that you fight, so eventually these goggles can be used to train robots in the future to fight by replacing soldiers. You are adding 100,000 data collection devices running around the ground, feeding targeting information to your warcrafts. Now, data is like the bullets in a war. The more you have, the more damage you can cause to the enemy. Even the generals at the headquarters can have a look at how the war is going. Now, this is something crazy. Microsoft has a secret weapon that no other company has. You know, when it comes to VR players, the other giant players in the market are Apple, Meta, and Amazon. However, none of them have this feature, unlike Microsoft. That is Activision. Activision is the company behind the giant game, Call of Duty. There is a high chance that you might have at least played one Call of Duty game in your life. As I told you, things we're seeing now were only seen in games before. So, I don't need to explain. The VR goggles that we are talking about now are very similar to the goggles the soldiers use in these games. Isn't that a good inspiration to bring these equipment and weapons into real life? There are about 20 Call of Duty games. Look at the drones the soldiers are using. If you have watched the drone video I did, you will realize those were there in these games. So, Definitely having Activision is a great strength for creating war equipment for Microsoft, because it's not a new thing. They have already developed these things inside a game. So it's like a virtual prototype. There is a high chance that Microsoft can test out the things in these games in real life. These are good inspirations for Microsoft to build something out of the imaginary world. Now, after all these incidents, I'm not saying that Microsoft supporting the US military is a crime. But here is the thing, it's true that Microsoft is a US company. However, Microsoft users are all around the world. Their main products are their server products, cloud services, office products, and their operating system, Windows. These are global products, and millions around the world from different countries use these products. It's true Microsoft's revenue is 50% from the USA, but there's another $100 billion from other countries. But this military equipment will be only restricted to US military, even though Microsoft is a global company. Countries like China are also using Microsoft, which means there is also an income. Windows has become crucial for businesses, especially in countries like India. Microsoft is the #1 OS. You might have seen how businesses lost millions of dollars due to the CrowdStrike incident. So, whatever Microsoft is developing, shouldn't they be accessible to these countries as well? There is an ethical aspect to this. If the US military is using these goggles for warfare with countries that use Microsoft for other purposes, shouldn't it be something Microsoft will have to rethink again? But why would a giant company like Microsoft get involved in warfare? There is another reason. When they can win huge deals like supplying a military, they can mass produce their products, which eventually leads to cost reductions. That's what most companies do. So for Microsoft to compete in the VR headset market with giants like Apple and Meta, this deal is crucial. This is the end of this documentary. If you have enjoyed this, your subscription to the channel really helps us to bring in more interesting content. So please hit the subscribe button and the bell icon. You'll be on the right track. Before we quit this video, there's another interesting story about how video drones turned out to be war drones. You can watch it by just clicking this thumbnail.